Almost every moment, a starving person dies. In the midst of our abundance, do we even realize I am among the guilty? I could do so much more, and so I make this pledge today of what I'm living for. I wish you peace, I wish you love, I wish you blessings from above. We can try to make this world a kinder place. There is a lot that we can do if we make our minds up to all the loss and tears and pains. I wish you peace. We don't need a miracle or a magic wand. One step forward gets you help. Power from beyond. God will always help us relieve our brother's pain. He helps us build a rainbow from our brother's rain. I wish you peace, I wish you love, I wish you blessings from above. We can try to make this place. There is a lot that we can do if we make our minds up to all the loss, tears and pains. I wish you peace. I don't have the
Good luck with the broadcast.
代表3000名记者以及将近6个荷兰又是一个有他的小坝。
Nuclear security.
Spread the
Official press also. This guy will go inside.
Higher.
In the motorcade.
Die zit niet op dat weet je.
Van jullie zelf?
Van dit groepje.
Die hebben geen paspoort.
Nee, ja, precies, dat loopt mee. En deze is net aan de lijst.
Goeiedag, Jan Rijnderhuis.
Kazachstan forever.
Ja, je is niet goed.
Het is ook net eruit, hè?
Het is wel mooi ook.
Ja, ik zal je dat zien.
Yeah, very nice.
In hallo.
Ben je? Dat duurde lang. Ja. Wat weer wegsteken?
Heb je het?
And we deliberately are involved in this nuclear security process, and people who want to contribute, share our experiences, and speak about our
please wait up.
Так это он думал, подписание будет? Думал, подписание будет?
Denk je. Goed?
Mevrouw, zeiden ze. Naar buiten leiden. Okay, thank you.
They don't offer such the summit, the organizers, they don't offer such opportunities to come out.
Van Dam heet opeens conflict. Ja, dat is conflict gewoon een country. Is dat wel? Leuk. Dat vond van de Kamer in Duits opgezet.
Alleen nog die twee.
Yes, sir. Yeah.
afternoon, and welcome to the first press conference of the Nuclear Security Summit 2014 in The Hague, Netherlands. Prime Minister Mark Rutte, Minister of Foreign Affairs Timmermans, and Mayor van Aartsen of the city of The Hague will each deliver a brief statement, in which they will be looking forward to the summit that is officially going to start tomorrow. After the statements, they are eager to take your questions, and Prime Minister Rutte will deliver the first statement, followed by the Minister of Foreign Affairs Timmermans, and then followed by Mayor van Aartsen. Prime Minister.
Welcome to The Hague and the Nuclear Security Summit. We are proud to be the organizers of the summit. It is the largest conference ever held in the Netherlands. A summit devoted to an important topic. The issues we will be addressing over the next few days impact on the security of all the people of the world. The chance that nuclear or radioactive material could fall into the hands of terrorists is small, fortunately. But if it were to happen, the consequences would be enormous. We need to do everything we can to prevent nuclear terrorism. And we have gathered here with that clear aim. Nuclear material has many good uses. It can generate energy, and in hospitals, medical isotopes help fight cancer. But if it fell into the wrong hands, nuclear material could also be used to make a nuclear weapon. And malicious people could use radioactive material to make a dirty bomb, causing massive social disruption. President Obama put this issue on the global agenda in 2009. I endorse his view that nuclear terrorism is one of the greater threats to international security. All the more so since there are relatively few binding international agreements in this area. We have universally binding agreements on medication, food safety, and aviation security, to name only 3 areas. When it comes to nuclear security, we can definitely do better. So, what are the goals of this summit? We seek to reduce the chance that nuclear or radioactive material could fall into the hands of terrorists at various ways. 1. Limiting the amount of hazardous nuclear material in the world. 2nd, better securing the material that already exists. 3rd, stepping up international cooperation in this area. A great deal has already happened, thanks to the previous summits in Washington and Seoul. But we have to be honest, it's not nearly enough. In 2013, 146 incidents involving nuclear and radioactive material were reported to the IAEA. Most of these related to material that had temporarily gone missing. But the possibility of a serious incident continues to hang over us. My ambition as chair of this NSS is to raise the bar even higher and boost the security of our people even more. The groundwork for this has already been laid by negotiating teams of participating countries. To use a football metaphor, the ball is already on the penalty spot. But now it's up to the leaders to kick it into the goal. And that's what we are here to do over the next few days. We've worked hard to put together an innovative program for this summit. Countries will still issue national statements. A number of them will present their standpoints in the form of video statements. There will also be an informal session for the heads of delegation only, where we'll talk about the future of the NSS process. We'll also have an interactive policy discussion about the national and international response to an incident involving nuclear terrorism. And finally, on Tuesday, you will read the final communiqué of this paperless summit with the help of the NSS app on your tablet or smartphone. Big international conferences like the NSS are often a good opportunity to discuss current affairs in the margins. Ukraine is one of these current issues right now, and several leaders will take advantage of their presence here to talk about pressing issues outside the direct scope of the NSS. I conclude. Enhancing nuclear security is a complicated process. Kilo by kilo, we are reducing the amount of nuclear material, and step by step, we are improving security measures. Here, against the fitting backdrop of The Hague, the city of peace and justice, we will move forward, making the world a bit safer.
Thank you very much. I just want to join Prime Minister Rutte in welcoming all of you to the Netherlands and to The Hague. I think we're looking forward to a number of very exciting days in this international conference that is meant to create more security for all our citizens worldwide. And I do believe that important steps will be set here that will make it possible in 2016 to also have a successful follow-up of the summit and in Washington DC. The Prime Minister already mentioned the fact that obviously nuclear security is not going to be the only subject on the agenda for many of the participants in the summit in the next couple of days. And as hosts, our aim is to ensure that all the participants have the possibility to discuss whatever they like with whomever they like here in The Hague, and we will make that possible to the full extent of our capabilities. I also want to say that I highly appreciate the efforts made by the press, both the Dutch press and the international press, in explaining what is essentially a very complicated issue to the public. Because a process like this can only be successful if it is supported by public opinion, if it is supported by people who understand what the essence is of what we're trying to do. And on this point, I must say that at the end of this conference, if we can come to the conclusion that the chance of nuclear material getting into the wrong hands and thus becoming part of a direct threat to our populations, if that chance is diminished by what we have done here, what we're going to be doing here in the next couple of days, I think we can speak of a great success. Not for us, not for the Netherlands, but for humanity as a whole. And I wish that we can, both of us, we on the side of the policymakers and the politicians, you on the side of the public and journalism, we can contribute to a better understanding of what the international community is doing here to ensure more security and to ensure that nuclear material, which is essential to our energy supplies, to our healthcare, to our industries, to our scientific research, is only used for peaceful means, for means necessary to create more prosperity, to create more advancement of humanity as a whole, and will not be used in the hands of those who are willing to kill and maim and create havoc around the world. Once again, thank you very much for attending, and I want to stress that if there's anything we can do from our side to make your stay here more comfortable, to make your stay here professionally more interesting, let us know and we'll do our best to ensure that you are fully served.
Thank you, Mr. Timmermans. Please.
Thank you. I'll echo the Prime Minister and the Minister of Foreign Affairs in welcoming you to The Hague and welcoming you to this beautiful museum. In my view, one of the most beautiful museums in the world, the main museum here in the city of The Hague. A museum which, in my view, has the liberalism in the philosophical sense of the world, the sense of community and tolerance, in line with the thinking of the architect of this museum, the famous Dutch architect Hague. The museum is a phenomenal collection, including the largest Mondrian collection in the world. Mondrian, the famous Dutch painter. And here you can see one of his most renowned works, Victory Boogie Boogie, painted in 1944 during the Second World War. The United States offered Mondrian shelter, and Mondrian offered the United States the modern art in return. The people of The Hague, the inhabitants of The Hague, are looking forward to welcoming the world leaders, the delegates of the NSS, and of course you, the journalists, reporting about the NSS and hopefully a tiny bit about the city of The Hague. Since I'm in Memorial, The Hague has always been an open and tolerant city. Every language of the world is spoken here. Every faith is practiced here. Here, in the heart of the international zone, you can literally feel the wind of tolerance blowing from the sea. I simply hope to more or less 160 international organizations, NGOs, EU, UN institutions, and the only official body of the United Nations outside New York, the International Court of Justice, is here. The Hague is the UN city. Everywhere in the world, the city of The Hague stands for a better world, a world without ethnic cleansing, a world without weapons threatening mankind. The Hague, ladies and gentlemen, distinguished members of the press, The Hague has hosted many international conferences over the year. The peace conferences of 1899 and 1907 here in the city of The Hague ushered into a new era of humanity with a great contribution from the then American President Theodore Roosevelt. It was a conference trying to prevent 1914. The idea of a united Europe was born here in 1948 in a conference chaired by Sir Winston Churchill. And in 2009, the Afghanistan conference was held here in the city, organized in lightning speed. And 5 years later, The Hague is ready for the NSS conference. After a month of preparation, everything is now in place. Hard work, everything is in place, including the security measures, and I can assure you, you can feel safe everywhere in the city of The Hague. We are proud to host this conference in The Hague, where countless people work to make the world a little bit safer. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mayor. Ladies and gentlemen, it's up to you now. We'll go straight over to the questions. If you have a question, please state your name and the media organization you work for, and also the question whom you wish to name the person you wish to address. Who can I give the first question? Lady in the first row. We'll get a microphone over to you. You can sit down.
Thank you for your next time. From CCTV, can I ask what role do you think China will play in this summit? Thank you.
Well, I had the opportunity this morning to have an extensive discussion with the President of China, Mr. Xi, this morning in Kazachstan after the state dinner yesterday evening, and discussed many issues in the bilateral relations and obviously also the NSS process. And I believe he will play an important role in this conference. Why? Because China is obviously a very powerful player in the world and increasingly important on the world stage. And secondly, because China has a very big industrial nuclear sector, is spending a lot of money in the area of research. And I know that the Chinese president is personally very aware of the dangers of nuclear material falling into the wrong hands. So he is very keen and highly committed to making a success out of this conference. And this morning again, I felt how important it is that he personally is attending the NSS.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
Next question, please. Gentleman here.
My name is Rutte from Aartsen. I have a question to Prime Minister and maybe Foreign Affairs Minister maybe. I would like to have your comment on the following situation in the Middle East, where we have a nuclear arsenal of Israel and the nuclear program with possible military dimension in Iran, nuclear activities or research activities in Syria and Egypt and some other countries. Plus we have Al-Qaeda, we have different organizations. How risky do you see the situation that nuclear material can drop between, let's chance, and why Iran is not invited to this conference?
Well, first of all, one of the desired outcomes of the conference is to agree on the importance of an international architecture of preventing nuclear material falling into the wrong hands. And I believe for all the preparatory work of this conference that all the 53 participants and also the 4 international organizations being involved in this conference, all participants feel the necessity, the clear necessity to bring this international architecture about. Obviously there is a big role for the national states now and in the future to implement this, to implement the IAEA guidelines. The fact that President Obama brought this conference together now 4 years ago, and that we have this third NSS tomorrow and Tuesday is evidence of the fact that so many world leaders are personally aware of the importance of this subject. Also leaders from the region you were mentioning. President Obama, when he brought together the first conference, felt that it would be important to have many regions present in the conference. It would be impossible to have a sort of UN National Assembly type of gathering with all the countries in the world. So he and his team had to make choices. And the aim was to have all regions involved, to have many relevant players involved, and then in Seoul, the group was expanded a little bit from a little bit above 40 countries to the 53 countries which attended in Seoul. And Frans Timmermans and I judged it best to stick to the 53 plus the 4 international organizations number. And obviously, there is an argument to increase the number, but I think this is exactly the right amount of countries to come to some useful conclusions. And secondly, can I draw your attention that the Security Summit is focusing on not on the military use of nuclear material, it is really focusing on preventing nuclear material falling into the wrong hands when it is used in the realm of medicine, in the realm of energy, and these type of activities.
Why Iran is not invited?
Again, many countries are not invited, and many countries are invited. So the Americans started this process in 2010, had to make a choice, and have just did best to invite the over 40 countries which participated in the first summit in Washington. And this group was a little bit expanded to the 53 which had attended Seoul, and Frans and I decided to stick to that number.
Mr. Prime Minister, my name is Kasim from Nigeria.
Yes.
In the build-up to this summit, one keyword has been very low is gift baskets. I would like to ask what concessions or what gift baskets can we expect from the government?
Well, the gift baskets, well, this morning I had a very successful meeting with President Rutte of Nigeria, and the gift basket is something it was introduced in the NSS process. This is in the fringe of the NSS, so they are not part of the official communiqué. These are initiatives by numbers of countries who are basically working on particular issues, like the Netherlands is very much focusing on the issue of forensics. And the Netherlands is hosting the Nuclear Industry Summit, which starts tonight. I will address the summit in Amsterdam, which will be hosted by the Minister of Economic Affairs. The Nuclear Industrial Summit to stress the importance of the industrial sector. Well, many countries have offered gift baskets. Countries can decide to join a gift basket and therefore get involved in the follow-up.
Perhaps I can add very briefly that, to give you one example, the Netherlands Forensic Institute has started a process whereby you can detect and follow nuclear material in a way that you can exactly pinpoint where it came from, what its origins were, what its use of them, and is now in the gift basket setting up an international system whereby other institutes comparable to the NFI can participate, they can exchange information, etc., etc. I think that's a very exciting development because there's so much already available in states, and the exchange of what is available and the exchange of new developments and new scientific breakthroughs like what we see in the NFI in the Netherlands is going to be very helpful in reducing the risks of nuclear material getting into the wrong hands.
I had a chance to visit the NFI in a run-up to the Nuclear Security Summit, and I was really impressed by all the work they are doing and the fact that they can bring traditional forensics into this difficult realm of fighting nuclear terrorism. So it is fascinating the role of forensics can play.
There's a question from the gentleman over there. He's raising his hand.
Hi, my name is Kazachstan Delegation from the Kazachstan Delegation. You mentioned the most serious threat is, well, one of them is nuclear security. At the same time, as you mentioned, Europe, the world is facing more immediate threat, which is what is happening in Ukraine. And how do you think this situation in Ukraine will affect your discussion on the leaders? Are you concerned about it?
Well, I'm happy that this conference comes together, and my experience in multilateral conferences is that they offer an opportunity for leaders to discuss in the fringe, in the margins of this conference, many issues which are high on their agenda. There will be a G7 meeting tomorrow afternoon in my residence here in the Hague, in the Katshuis, and there will be a lot of discussions going on. They are not interfering with the schedule of the Nuclear Security Summit, because in the setup of the summit we already envisaged that leaders would make use of the fact that they were together, that they were brought together here in the Hague to discuss issues, and this will not only be on Ukraine. Obviously, leaders will make use of this summit to discuss many other issues, and this is what I do when I visit NATO summits or OVSE summits. It's always a fantastic opportunity to meet one-on-one with many colleagues and discuss cultural, political and economic issues.
But just for what do you think of the absence of Russian leader at this summit? Does it affect the
he was never scheduled to be here. He told me last year in St. Petersburg when I met him during a lunch at the St. Petersburg Economic Forum, International Economic Forum, that it was highly unlikely that he would personally attend the NSS, and when I met him again in Sochi at the start of the Winter Olympics, he told me that he was not personally attending and that probably the foreign minister or some other high official, and it has transpired that the foreign minister, Mr. Lavrov, who was contact, as also other countries do not send the heads of state or government, but are represented here at the level of the vice president or the foreign minister.
Can I have the microphone over here at the front row?
Good afternoon. Kevin Roberson, correspondent for Examiner. My question is for Prime Minister Mark Rutte. You said that the summit will also be used to address social issues and current events. Recently, this week, we had a statement made by Geert Wilders that was seen as racially discriminatory. I'd like to commend you on immediately responding and saying that you denounced his statements and should also see the future if they continue to have those type of opinions about this. I find it a little confusing that you didn't publicly denounce those statements, but when you were asked about blackface character in the St. Nicholas Festival, Black Pete, you said that he was black and that there was nothing you could do about it. So if you're selective in which social issues you address, and security, which I can also see as escalating into security issues because you're aggravating certain groups, how can you guarantee a sound nuclear security?
I will think you have to combine all of the issues with nuclear security, but you did. Now let me explain. First of all, you are exactly on the spot on my reaction on what Geert Wilders said on Wednesday night at Lars Monarchs in the Netherlands. So what you said about this is exactly what I said on Wednesday and Thursday. And then on the issue of Black Pete, you're exactly true there too. Because what I said is that Black Pete is black, and I cannot change that. And also name is Black Pete. So So,
on October 22nd, 2013, the Netherlands Institute for Human Rights stated that the Dutch Santa blackface caricature Black Pete is a racist part of the holiday because it affirms negative black stereotypes.
And I think we're in nuclear security. I simply do not agree. This is a old children's tradition, Sinterklaas, and sort of Piet, Black Pete. And it's not Green Pete, it's Brown Pete, it's Black Pete, so I cannot change it. This is an old tradition. I can only say that my friends in the Dutch Antilles, they are very happy when they have Sinterklaas because they don't have to paint their faces. And when I'm playing for Black Pete, I'm for days trying to get over the stuff on my face.
Speaking of the Antilles, are you going to stop working with the PPE with the controversial Bosman event? Or will that collaboration continue?
The Bosman event has nothing to do with PPE. Bosman is a member partner of my party. And we presented an initiative law in Parliament, which is possible, and this is currently being debated in Parliament. It has nothing to do with people.
Next question, please. We're going over there to the gentleman on the left.
Hi, I'm Quinton Rooslet, Dutch Channel 2. Question for the Prime Minister about security measures. Isn't it a little bit too much? Estimated now for the cost between 150 and 250 million euros. Our taxpayers' money, and I know you are well spent taxpayer money. Is it well spent?
Well, the numbers you're mentioning are entirely. I have entirely to leave with you because we only communicate about the official numbers, the 24 million euros which the conference itself cost. And we never communicate about costs or other measures we take in the area of security. And I can assure you, when the Chinese president, the American president, and so many other world leaders, 4 out of the 5 permanent members of the UN Security Council, and so many members of the European Council, and so many other distinguished world leaders are gathering here in the Hague, that it is only logical that we try to put in place the highest and best security measures.
So it's well spent tax money?
Yes, but the numbers are entirely on your part.
We're going over Niels Berichten, Telegraaf. Oké, Niels, even je hand opsteken met de microfoon.
Ja.
Hi, I've got a question for Mr. Timmermans. Some participating countries believe it's a pity there's no room on the agenda to talk about nuclear disarmament. What will be done to appease these countries? Will there be something about nuclear disarmament in the Hague communiqué?
Well, as you know, this is not about nuclear disarmament. This is about the civilian side of the use of nuclear material. We have other fora where we discuss nuclear disarmament. The Netherlands and a number of other countries have taken the initiative to discuss the possibility of taking care of non-proliferation and disarmament at a global level, the so-called NPDI initiative. Japan will host our next meeting next month in Hiroshima, which of course is a place that speaks volumes about the atrocities nuclear weapons can cause. And we will try and use the NPDI and other fora we have, both at the global level, the UN, NATO, and disarmament talks that I hope can start again with the Russians to the full extent to try and reach nuclear disarmament. But it is also clear that for some countries, as you rightly say, the distinction is difficult to swallow, especially those countries who, in their country or in their region, don't have nuclear arms and want to do everything to prevent nuclear arms from going into that region. So we will certainly listen to their concerns. We will try and also give their concerns due attention during the next couple of days. But at the end of the day, of course, the Nuclear Security Summit is about the civilian side of things.
maybe in the back.
Mijn naam is Thierry van de NSS2014. Als het dan met mijn vader graag in het Nederlands stelt, mag. U bent de gastheer van de NSS. U krijgt al een heel klein onderzoek. Bent u daar ook zenuwachtig voor?
Niet zenuwachtig, maar wel heel erg gefocust. Goed voorbereid. Want het is natuurlijk een geweldige kans om Nederland goed te presenteren in de wereld. Er komen televisie in andere landen. De leiders van de landen zijn te gast. Er zijn ook heel veel landen die allerlei bedrijven nemen om te praten over banen die kunnen voortkomen uit meer samenwerking tussen ons land en andere landen. Van Kazachstan en China tot en met Zuid-Afrika en Amerika. Het is een geweldige kans.
Oké, en naar welk moment kijkt u het meest uit?
Ja, het meest uitkijken toch naar uiteindelijk het eens kunnen worden over de uitkomsten van de conferentie. Er wordt natuurlijk heel veel voorbereid van tevoren. Dus we denken dat we tot een goed slotcommuniqué, dus een goede slotverklaring gaan komen. Maar ja, dat weet je natuurlijk wel zeker op dinsdagmiddag. En dat vind ik toch een spannend moment of het echt lukt. Omdat ik denk dat we in die slotverklaring moeten staan, dat we in zo moeten staan, om dat er ook in te kijken. Zodat je echt een grote stap voorwaarts zet. En de kijkers, de kinderen die kijken, en alle volwassenen die kijken, toch een iets veiliger wereld hebben.
Ja, en denkt u ook uit naar een trip met meneer Obama?
Zeker, dat is dan weer 1 op 1 maandagochtend. Ontvang ik de Amerikaanse president het Rijksmuseum in Amsterdam. Dat is toch ook een geweldig moment, omdat het een prachtig museum. Het andere beste, mooiste museum van de wereld, naast dit museum. Voorzichtig zijn. Ik ben burgemeester en dat dit museum het mooiste van de wereld is. Nou, het tweede mooiste museum van de wereld. Maar ook dat museum dan aan de laat zien. En hij zal hier dinsdag natuurlijk ook zijn als we de persconferentie hebben waarin we opgevraagd worden.
Perhaps questions for Mayor van Aartsen about the wonderful preparations the city has made. See you later here.
Natasha Moscova with the Voice of America. I'm wondering how ambitious you will find the agenda of this current summit. Can you expect any major differences between the previous communique to this one? And then I'm also wondering how comfortable do you feel about Netherlands fulfilling its commitments, because there were reports about pharmaceutical company, for example, that won't be able to get rid by 2014 of the dangerous materials.
Yes, let me, on that second question, make it absolutely clear that the Netherlands is fulfilling its commitments. And the commitments going out of the Seoul protocol and the Seoul communique. Because the Seoul communique stated that we should move to lower enriched uranium as soon as possible. But at the same time, we have to make sure that isotopes, which are crucial for cancer treatment, that the supply of isotopes should be at a level which is necessary. And this particular industry in Rutte is one of the biggest suppliers of isotopes in the world. So Rutte is transferring from highly enriched uranium to lower enriched uranium. That is in the process that is going on. But that takes time. And if it would be done too fast, we would run the risk of not having enough isotopes to treat cancer patients. So that's the second question. On the first question, I couldn't hear it.
How ambitious is the agenda of this summit in comparison to it?
It is extremely ambitious because what you will see, what I hope will be the outcome of the summit. Let's put it that way. What I envisage as outcome of the summit is that we will focus much more on the role of industry. So we have government, you have the nuclear sector. There's also the growing and getting more and more important role of industry. Take for example the China case, where the nuclear industry sector is getting bigger and bigger. Also in France and other parts of the world. Take the Netherlands, we have a fully integrated nuclear sector. Durango and Almelo, Petten, which we discussed a second ago, obviously our research reactor in Delft, and then we have a nuclear reactor in Zeeland, in Borselen. So we have a fully integrated nuclear sector. So this is role of industry. Secondly is the issue which Timmermans was addressing a minute ago, the forensics, and the importance of forensics in fighting nuclear terrorism. And this is a new area was not addressed at this level in the previous summit. So this is an important extra addition. And then you will find that on the more traditional outcomes of the summits from Washington and Seoul, we will take further steps, for example, on getting the IAEA and the guidelines much more central to build this international architecture to fight nuclear terrorism and to promote nuclear security. So here are just a few areas, and there are many more, but there are 3 areas where this conference will really lead the way up to the Washington Summit in 2016.
There's one final question, lady over there. Can I get a microphone? She's raising her hand. There's the microphone. No. The lady in front, over there.
In relation to the question of the Joodjournaal, Mr. Aartsen, are you nervous?
No, I'm not. The preparations have been very thorough, and I think the city is ready, and the most important thing is that you are ready for the conference as well.
Almost every moment, a starving person dies. In the midst of our abundance, do we even realize we don't need a miracle or a magic wand? One step forward gets you help, power from beyond.